Hey, what's up, everybody? It's GleeCon, and I am back again after a little bit of a hiatus. So thank you so much for clicking and watching and tuning in. So this is a show, Lore of Warcraft. For those of you that are new, welcome. It's a show that's been going on for years, over 1,500 episodes strong, and it's a show where I cover everything in the entire game. So I cover every quest and line of dialogue and bit of in-game lore for all of the games, starting with Warcraft Orcs and Humans, and now currently deep in Warcraft Classic era, Vanilla. And I also cover everything out of the game. I will go over with together in a sort of review form some of the more obscure, longer materials, and if it's a novel, I read it book on tape style and do my shabby attempt at voices. So I have been gone for a while, and on some of the longer episodes coming up over the next few days, I'll explain and regale you with tales of the adventures I've had across the continent of North America. But for now, I just wanted to get in with a quick episode today, just to touch base and let you guys know I'm here, I love you, and we're going to kick another episode off. This is an in-game lore episode called The Founding of Quel'Thalas. Stay a while and listen. This in Classic can be found in a few places. Scholomance, which has almost every book in the game. It can be found in Darkshire, which is where we're at right now. It can also be found in Aberdeen, if you are wanting to go that way. If you are not Alliance, good luck. You're going to pretty much have to wait to Scholomance to get a crack at it, or you're going to have to do a raid on... I'd probably do a raid on Aberdeen before I'd try to do a raid on Darkshire. And by raid, I mean a single walk. But here in Darkshire, it's upstairs in the inn, in the middle room. If you walk upstairs, there's 3 rooms. It's in the middle one where old Gunder Thornbrush, the tradesman, is. And it's on this desk. So we're going to kick it off. Here we go. The Founding of Quel'Thalas. The High Elves, before we kick that off, to catch up where we are in the timeline, the most recently one we read was the Sentinels and the Long Vigil, where we are basically reading the in-game lore, the small little no longer canon pieces of lore we skipped as we made our way to this point in the game. And we're just past the Sundering, the 10,000 years ago, the War of the Ancients, and covering what happened, and most notably the founding of the High Elves. Which ones left the Night Elves? What did they do? And eventually, we know they became the Blood Elves. But how did that nation kind of get founded? And that's where we are with the founding of Quel'Thalas right now. The High Elves, led by Dathramar, left Kalimdor behind them and challenged the storms of the Maelstrom. Their fleets wandered the wreckage of the world for many long years, and they discovered mysteries and lost kingdoms along their sojourn. Dathramar, who had taken the name Sunstrider, or He Who Walks the Day, sought out places of considerable ley power upon which to build a new homeland for his people. His fleet finally landed on the beaches of the kingdom men would later call Lordaeron. Forging inland, the High Elves founded a settlement within the tranquil Tirisfal glades. After a few years, many of them began to go mad. It was theorized that something evil slept beneath that particular part of the world, but the rumors were never proven to be true. The High Elves packed up their encampment and moved northward toward another land rich with ley energies. Now, that is something I'm not 100% sure if they've retconned that. Why did they leave Tirisfal? What was it? Is it something related to an old god? Possibly. Was it related to Tyr? There's some ancient battles that happened there in the way before the humanoids populated the earth. So Chronicles, I think, talks about it a little bit more. As the High Elves crossed the rugged mountainous lands of Lordaeron, their journey became more perilous. Since they were effectively cut off from the life-giving energies of the Well of Eternity, many of them fell ill from the frigid climate or died from starvation. The most disconcerting change, however, was the fact that they were no longer immortal or immune to the elements. Oh. I forget that original Night Elves were immune to the elements, so almost like Adam and Eve, they were immortal and they could walk around nude. They also shrank somewhat in height, and their skin lost its characteristic violet hue. Despite their hardships, they encountered many wondrous creatures that had never been seen in Kalimdor, They also found tribes of primitive humans who hunted throughout the ancient forest lands. However, the direst threat they encountered were the voracious and cunning forest trolls of Zulaman, the Amani Empire. These moss-skinned trolls could regenerate lost limbs and heal grievous physical injuries, but they proved to be a barbaric, evil race. The Amani Empire stretched across most of northern Lordaeron, and the trolls fought hard to keep unwanted strangers from their borders. The elves developed a deep loathing for the vicious trolls and killed them on sight whenever they were encountered. So they kind of like Native American to them. They just went in there and took their land, and they just justified it by saying, like, they were like a messed up people, and they might have been, but later on, again, that's kind of retconned a little. They're still presented as being pretty savage and brutal. After many long years, the High Elves finally found a land which was reminiscent of Kalimdor. Deep within the northern forests of the continent, they founded the kingdom of Quel'Thalas and vowed to create a mighty empire which would dwarf that of their Kaldorei cousins. Unfortunately, they soon learned that Quel'Thalas was founded upon an ancient troll city that the trolls still held to be sacred. Almost immediately, the trolls began to attack the elven settlement en masse. The stubborn elves, unwilling to give up their new land, utilized the magics which they had gleaned from the Well of Eternity and kept the savage trolls at bay. Under Dathramar's leadership, they were able to defeat the Amani warbands that outnumbered them with 10 to 1. Some elves, wary of the Kaldorei's ancient warnings, felt that their use of magic might possibly draw the attention of the banished Burning Legion. Yeah, but they kind of had no choice. Therefore, they decided to mask their lands within a protective barrier which would still allow them to work their enchantments. They constructed a series of monolithic runestones at various points around Quel'Thalas, which marked the boundaries of the magic barrier. The runestones not only masked the elves' magic from extra-dimensional threats, but helped to frighten away the superstitious troll warbands as well. And this is all kind of like laying the groundwork for the mythology that is in place firmly by Warcraft 2. As time wore on, Quel'Thalas became a shining monument to the High Elves' efforts and magical prowess. Its beauteous palaces were crafted in the same architectural style as the ancient halls of Kalimdor, yet they were interwoven with the natural topography of the land. Quel'Thalas had become the shining jewel that the elves had longed to create. The Convocation of Silvermoon was founded as the ruling power over Quel'Thalas. Though the Sunstrider dynasty maintained a modicum of political power, comprised of 7 of the greatest High Elf lords, the Convocation worked to secure the safety of the elven lands and people. Surrounded by their protective barrier, the High Elves remained unmoved by the old warnings of the Kaldorei and continued to use magic flagrantly in almost all aspects of their lives. For nearly 4,000 years, the High Elves lived peacefully within the secluded safety of their kingdom. Nevertheless, the vindictive trolls were not so easily defeated. They plotted and schemed in the depths of their forests and waited for the numbers of their warbrands to grow. Finally, a mighty troll army charged out from the shadowy forests and once again laid siege to the shining spires of Quel'Thalas, to be picked up, I guess, in another in-game lore book. And that spans a big chunk of time. Really, there's so much primitive action that other than the elves and some of their battles with the trolls, there's not a lot going on in the span of 10,000 years that is recorded in the history that we see. All right, everyone, thrilled to be back. Thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope you've had a chance to catch up on the backlog of all the episodes of things that we do. This is Shalasir. She is part of the revamped, rebooted set. When we first attempted to do Classic, we made one of every single class, and then we realized that was more trouble than it was worth by around level 30. So you can see there's a solid 500 or so episodes, at least, of work I did in that before we just scrapped it all. But this is old Chalice here. She was a cool one. She originally was, what was her name? She was originally named a Shadow Song, I believe. But that was taken when I did my server transfer, so she got rebooted to another name. But she was our original feral druid. So thank you everybody so much for watching, listening, tuning in, like, subscribe, tell everyone how cool it is. Check me out on Patreon if you want to see the same treatment I give it to the Assassin's Creed series. Also check out the sheets and everything that I share on this and other episodes. If you want to continue following along the walkthrough the way I do it, or looking at the lore in the order that we basically did on this channel. For now, we got another episode in the pipe, 5x5.